Hello everyone, welcome to my YouTube channel. We are continuing with the video set series on the types of political systems by talking about the meaning of power and looking at historical political thinkers' insights on power. This is important for laying the foundation for how power shaped the types of rulers specific countries have and what the historical perspective of power was. When we usually hear the word power, we tend to think of it as someone having the ability to control something and decide how something should function. For this video set series, we will define power as making the final decision on something and controlling where resources and money go. It includes saying what is right and wrong and having the final say about how people get consequences if they break the rules. When we connect power to the types of governments society has, we need to analyze who makes the decisions, who controls the resources and money, who says what is right and wrong, and who punishes people. When it comes to who is in charge of a government system in a community, it could be one person, a few people, or everybody. We also need to see who gets to decide these rules and how they should be enforced. Since power affects people's lives, we need to be mindful of who we put in charge of our institutions and what their intentions are when they receive power from society. That is why power is so important and how it is connected with how we shape our political systems. Let's proceed into talking about some historical political thinkers' insights about power. Let's begin with the Greek thinker Aristotle. He famously organized governments by how many people held power. But every major civilization has had people who think about what the government should look like and what it should do. He said, "Without a guiding hand, Plato, we'll be overrun with violence. Everyone will try to take what they need by force." This means we need to have a government system in place to provide direction and resources to its citizens so the people know there is a government looking out for them. Without someone to look for guidance and support, people will feel like they are on their own and they have to provide for themselves, even if they have to do so violently. Let's proceed to Ibn Khaldun. Ibn Khaldun, who was one of the Islamic world's most important thinkers and historians, was born in the 14th century and became an important political advisor for rulers across the world. He put what he learned into Muqaddimah, a comprehensive history of empires, economics, and people. It talks about who says what's right and wrong, who makes decisions, who punishes people, who exercises a restraining influence and rules them, and to whom recourse may be had. He said people in any social organization must have someone who exercises a restraining influence and rules them and to whom resource may be had. This means a community must select a ruler who has enough self-control to use their given powers responsibly and not act impulsively on decisions that they make. Nearly all early thinkers agreed that the best system was to give absolute power to an outstandingly virtuous ruler. The truly virtuous ruler understands how to live in exactly the right way to foster human excellence. Once everyone is living their best life, society should be peaceful and happy. However, that seems unlikely. The thinkers expected virtuous rulers to be rare, so they came up with a lot of ideas about how regular rulers should pursue order and peace. They believed good governments should have monarchy, aristocracy, and polity. They believed defective governments should have tyranny, oligarchy, and simple democracy. No matter who was in charge, the thinkers thought the law should be supreme. When the laws are supreme, rulers govern in the interests of the community. But when rulers are supreme, they always end up governing for themselves. They still thought virtuous leaders could make good laws too. Chinese thinkers debated whether it was better for rulers to inspire right behavior through strict laws or by setting a good moral example themselves. Here are some of their thoughts. A good ruler must follow the hearts of the people, but also show the way to certain death. Rulers get better results when they rule through virtue rather than force. A ruler should govern like the parent of a family. To rule by force is like climbing a tree in search of a fish. Make the rules strict because virtuous rulers are about as common as unicorns. The people flourish when the state is strong. Do you want to help the people? Then maintain law and order. And thinkers also spent a lot of time discussing what a ruler should do. Here are some of their thoughts. The ruler's responsibility is to guide or push citizens towards virtuous living. Living virtuously means knowing your place in society. One of the ruler's most important jobs is to make sure everyone is in their proper place. Of course, the ruler is God's shadow on earth. Virtuous citizens look to the ruler to enforce God's laws. When it came to a hierarchy, Hindu thinkers agreed that strict social hierarchies were the only way to prevent chaos. They said all groups have dharma to perform. The good king encourages his citizens to perform their responsibilities, not those of any other group. This means people in society are assigned roles to do specific things based on a hierarchy, and they must follow through on their responsibilities in their communities so everyone is not all over the place doing anything not pertaining to their role. This also means the rulers should make sure the citizens are doing what they are supposed to be doing. So, as we can tell, these early historical thinkers appeared obsessed with rulers being virtuous and in charge. These are about kings, but what about everybody else? For political reasons, most of these thinkers focus on governments ruled by one person, monarchies, and tyrannies. Most of them in communities ruled by a single person, usually a man. Kings did not love hearing about the benefits of other people being in charge. These thinkers also lived in times when war was common and peaceful transitions of power were rare. In my previous video, I mentioned that a specific political environment affected the way people viewed how a government system should function. In this case, the type of government system these thinkers lived under influenced how they viewed power for rulers. These thinkers did not always agree on what a strong ruler was, but they did not like what happened when too many people thought they were in charge. Ibn Sina said, rational people already know that if everyone were a king, they would seek to destroy each other to the very last person, and if everyone were a subject, they would just as surely all perish. It seemed like he thought when each person gets a lot of say about how their government should function, each person will only act on their self-interest that could cause more harm than good to the rest of society. So, these thinkers decided the best way to get a good government was to have one person say what is right and wrong, punish people if they broke the rules, and make decisions about what the government should do while having stability in society. So, were these political thinkers right? Well, we will have to see in the next couple of videos where we will talk about some of these ideas being put into place in certain countries. But it is important for us to talk about these thinkers because we need to understand how and why most of the political systems were created that centered around one person controlling how their country functions. We now know that these political systems did not just come out of thin air, but rather came from political thinkers who contributed their insights on how they envisioned a political system working in society. In fact, so many of our political systems were influenced by historical thinkers. The thing we need to figure out is if those historical perspectives were practical in the countries that executed some of their insights. In the next video, we will talk about a monarchy and see how it works in specific countries. Until then, please like this video, subscribe to my YouTube channel, and turn on the post notifications so you will be notified when I post my next video. I appreciate your support. Remember, you are powerful, you are capable, and you are the changemaker our society needs. Thank you so much for watching this video. I will see you soon.